Why are you looking at me like that?
Just waiting for welcome back, friends.
Yeah, that's what. Do you not like that?
No,
Do you not like it? No. Nicole, open up the show. Open up the show, Nicole. Come on, open it up.
Welcome back, friends. It's Pizza Night with Niki and Mike. My name is Nicole Mancha, and this is Mike Mercado. Go ahead, Mike. Say hi.
Hi.
It's so nice to have you back on.
Thank you.
You can continue with the show now that I've proven my point.
I can go ahead and open the show?
Yes.
Okay.
You may. Oh, sorry, Mokes.
It's the best night of the week. We hope you're hungry for Pizza Night with Niki and Mike here on Mercado Airwaves. Now, here are your hosts for Pizza Night, Nicole Mancha and Mike Mercado.
Welcome in, friends, to Pizza Night with Niki and Mike. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, as always joined by the lovely Nicole Mancha. Nicole, how are you?
Great. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. Thank you, friends, for joining us on this night. It's going to be a fun episode. I promise you it's going to be a lot of fun. It's all about vacations, how to plan them, what to do when you're there, what happens when, like everything else, plans change and something happens that you didn't see coming. We're going to hit all that on today's episode. Don't forget, you can follow us everywhere in the universe. We're on Facebook. Give us a like at Mercado Airwaves. We're on iTunes. Rate, review, like, and share. Mercado Airwaves. We're on YouTube. If you're listening to us there, please comment below, like, and share us. You can also subscribe to us. See when every one of our episodes upload. It's youtube.com/Mike Mercado 2333. And every single one of our shows is brought to you by our amazing producers over at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. So, Nicole, we actually are heading out to San Diego in just a few days. So you got the idea of maybe talking about something that everybody has to deal with, especially this time of the year, traveling and planning these vacations. Just really fast before we go ahead and pay some bills, what are we going to hit on today's episode? What do you want to hit on?
I mean, just the idea of vacations, when you take them. Do you take them with your partner? Do you not take them with your partner? Just when to take them, because I think that vacations they can be very stressful, and you really see who a person is when you travel with them. So kind of stuff like that, money-wise, like you can find out if you want to do like a big vacation or a staycation. You know, there's so many ways to go with this, and I think that everyone can kind of enjoy the different avenues.
Well, let's get to it. We'll be right back here on Pizza Night with Niki and Mike on Mercado Airwaves.
If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all of Nicole's work at typingwhentipsy.wordpress.com. Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, Mike Mercado 2333.
So, Nicole, in your opinion, when the vacation planning process starts, or when you're starting to get into full motion of it, what do you think is the most frustrating part of doing it? Like, what's the hardest thing of planning a vacation?
I mean, the hardest thing, I think, is the financial portion, right? Because you're trying to figure out how much you can afford, but you don't want to be broke on your trip, so you don't want to go too big. And then if you're going with people, if you're going by yourself, are you going with your friends? Because it's definitely going to change how much you're spending. If you're going with a couple, you may be able to save because you can have less room, you can have... you guys can share stuff, and it's a little bit different than if you go with your girlfriends, and like, yeah, you can share a room, but if there's 4 or 5 of you, you're going to need more space, and everything kind of becomes a bigger thing, and then you have to factor in everybody else's kind of financial status. I think when you're in a couple, you guys kind of already know. You're kind of in that position already. To be able to figure out where you're at and what you're going to be doing for the rest of the trip. Sorry.
I don't work with professionals.
Sorry. No,
I don't
Mike,
work with professionals.
Leaned over and is changing my mic, and I'm looking at him, and I can't keep a straight face. This is why I didn't go into acting. This right here is because I cannot keep a straight face.
Yeah, this is why you didn't get into radio neither. Unbelievable. There was a lot of things that you hit on that I want to get into this episode, especially the money situation, going with friends. And then just in general, how long in a relationship should you be going into vacation together? Let's go ahead and do the monkey in the room then. Money-wise, let's just say it's an established, let's say you're in a relationship and you're going on vacation together. You've been together for a long enough time, whatever you want to use as a barometer.
Sure.
You've been together for a long enough time. When Should you just split it? Should it just be as simple as splitting it down the middle, or should there be more responsibility on one to the other? Like, how do you feel about that?
I think it depends on the trip. So if you're doing like an international trip, I think that you really need to sit down, because if, let's say, the one person wants to go and you guys are pretty much financially equivalent, then I think you can do it half and half. I think if, as an example, if I made more money,
Yeah.
and I was like, hey, I want to travel internationally, but because I understand that it is a really big expense and I make more money, I'm cool with doing 60-40 or 70-30, just depending on what. Keeping in mind that, you more than likely at that point are splitting a lot of other bills as well.
Sure.
So you can kind of, be like, hey, how about I cover a little bit more rent here so you'll have a little bit more money when we go. Those kind of things. I think it's really about just talking and kind of figuring out what the best route to go is. I also think if you have like the money right then, it's better to kind of just pay for it and then worry about that person getting you back later.
Sure.
If you decide that that's the decision that you want to make.
Now, do you think, like for me, when planning this, I think it's like you said, especially if it's depending on who makes more money, what the trip is, who the trip's for, circumstances, everything, everything has to be taken into account. But, I think for simpler trips, for things,
Right.
within the States or whatever, like, I think it's easy to just kind of split it down the middle and then just kind of go as you go through the vacation. Just kind of, at the end, especially depending on the relationship, like I could say at least in ours, it's one of those things where one pays more than the other at this day, and then it evens out towards the end or whatever. It's just you got to pick each other up different times of not just in a vacation, but like I like to do my budget for like a month to month, and I think that takes into account for it. It's like, okay, maybe earlier in the month it's gonna be tighter, maybe later in the month it's gonna be tighter, so on and so forth, and the partner picks up the slack when it's when it's on the other scale. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure. I think it definitely depends on where you're at and what you want to do. And like you said, like there are couples who do things very half and half. Like
Sure.
they have their own accounts and everything, and we do. But I think that just for me personally, there are like 2 or 3 people in this world, and you're included in there, where money is not as big of a factor, because I
Sure.
know that at some point it'll come back to me. Whether it's going to come back to me in the monetary form or not, it'll come back in some
So
way.
like groceries,
Grabbing lunch, I'll cover the cable bill or the electric bill this month, and you know what I mean? So not physically getting it back, but actually taking care of it. Or even things like I had to go to Texas to go visit my grandfather, and like I wasn't going to be home, so you kind of had to handle everything that was here by yourself for 4 or 5 days, and then also taking care of the dog by yourself, taking care of the house by yourself. Like all of those things kind of, in my opinion, it's like I don't necessarily need a monetary return.
Sure.
Just an appreciation.
No, and again, that's one scenario and that's one case.
Right.
And again, this is talking within a specific relationship, but then there's also, like you said, when you go with friends, it's a little tougher sometimes to deal with money, just because money is tough and you just really never want to cross those paths. Even with family, sometimes like you just don't want a lot of money get into things.
Right.
That's why when you're planning a vacation specifically with friends, I think you get all the money stuff out front and just get it done with.
So I also think a really important thing that I've noticed, I think, as I got older, especially like when you go out to dinner and stuff, is a lot of times people are like, oh, let's just put it all on one card and we'll figure it out later. But then someone always feels slighted by it. Yeah. So just as a tip, if you're ever going with friends, having cash is wonderful, because then if someone's like, I'll use my card to pay for everything, you can pay me back later. And then there's that weird thing between you for the next 6 months because you forgot to pay back that 20 that you completely forgot about. And that person's like, oh, I never got my 20 back. If you have cash on you when you go, and I'm not saying bring like $1,000 with you in cash, but there are ATMs literally everywhere. Like unless you're going to, I don't know, Botswana, like there's literally stuff everywhere. You're able to go get it, have it when you go out. It just puts you in a better position, I think, than having to worry about that stuff, because you also don't want to be those group of people who are like, oh, there's 10 of us, can you actually split the check 7 ways with this person? Sure. It's just too hard, and some people won't even do it. So I think it's just better to like carry cash when you go out with friends too, like a vacation with friends when you guys are going places.
Now, when you're going with friends, do you think that when you're planning the vacation that you should be doing a lot of things together, or should you be able to find, like, I think I know where you're going to go with this, but like I personally believe when you go out on vacation with friends, like you should plan dinners like that, and you should have time together and whatnot. But I also believe, like, if you're going with somebody else, like you should also find some time for yourselves and, be able to enjoy a vacation in your own right.
Oh, for sure. I think that, it's one of those situations where I've heard from people where they all do stuff together the whole time. And I'm like, but why? Like, I don't even know if I want to spend time with my significant other, 7 days in a row together the whole time.
Right.
Like, as much as I love you, I like having my own space. Like, I will probably get up and go for a run in the mornings just because I'm able to be by myself. It gives me a little of my own time. I think you should definitely plan things together and plan on what you want to do as a group. But I think especially if you're talking to those people and you're like, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking. What are you thinking? You don't want people to get offended, but you also want to have your own vacation. You're paying for your vacation. You should be able to enjoy it.
And what happens when then the scenario comes in where if you get bad weather? Like, what do you think you should do when you plan on a vacation and all of a sudden just one day all the plans are ruined? You can't do anything. Like, you better be going on. First of all, you better be going on vacation with people you're friends with. But do you have any ideas of what you could do? Like, what would you do in that scenario?
My thing is there is Google. There is no reason you can't find something to do.
Sure.
Literally no reason. I think it's always good to have a backup plan. What are things that you can do indoors? Do they have really cool museums or restaurants or indoor theme parks? What do they have? Some places have the Mall of America. It's an entire mall that's huge. Things like that, being able to just plan for extra things and things that you might want to do anyways when you get there realizing, oh shit, it's going to rain.
Right. I think, and I'm also somebody who just feels like you kind of have to be flexible.
Yeah.
You just got to be kind of go with the flow, whether that means, playing cards inside because you got snowed in when you went somewhere, or, like you said, you just got to find some place that you could go to and just chill out for a day and, get some food and relax. And I also, I think it's really fun when you kind of are able to just enjoy the moment for what it is and just kind of, let it really just be a moment in it,
Yeah, I think I love having my days, and I don't have them very often, as you know, and most people who know me. I have a lot of trouble just sitting down and not moving, and so I think vacation is one of the few times that I'm able to kind of really chill and relax, and because I don't have something to do, I don't have anywhere to be, I don't have groceries, so having that time, and that's why I'm bringing my laptop so I can write while I'm there, giving myself other options that are not always I'm gonna go out.
Sure, and speaking in that type of mindset, when you go on vacation, I'm somebody who hates making plans. I like having ideas of what to do. Okay, I kind of want to do this. I kind of want to do that. And I want to do this. But I don't like saying, all right, on Wednesday at 11:30, this is what we're doing. Because to me, that's planning stuff. That's forcing yourself to do something opposed to just kind of, I'm kind of here. These are the things I want to do. I'm literally just detached from the world, disattached from the world,
Yeah. I think it's good to be flexible and kind of be open, knowing there has to be some sort of structure, because literally I could tell you I'm hungry and 4 hours later we're going out. And I'm not good with that. Yeah. Because you just get into the zone of whatever you're doing and you're just not there. And that's fine. And especially for home, that's fine. But I'm to be in a different city and to not really know where I'm at, you know me, I'll just go.
Yeah.
And you will, and we were in New York, and I'm all right, well, I'm just going to go walk around, and I literally left.
Yeah. The best one is oh, I know where I'm going. I'm okay, I'll follow you, sure. And I'm I'm pretty sure we're in the PJs, Nicole. It's how did you figure? I'm because I see bars on every single window, not just the first floor.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm definitely an adventurer. I'll go out by myself all day, so that doesn't bother me. But I think that, having some structure, but being flexible, maybe this isn't going to work at this time at this day, and maybe this is going to happen this day, but knowing hey, around 6, we're going to go grab food, okay? Because there are more than just you that's worried about it.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. You do have to have some form of structure. You do have to have some form of an idea of things to do. Just have kind of a bucket list almost. Just, hey, that'd be cool. Let's try to check things off.
Right.
You don't have to plan the way the vacation movies, those National Lampoon vacation movies, where it's 8:35 we're doing this, and at 10:45 we're at this, and at 12:45 we better be here, and it's we have lunch at 1:00. It's no, if I'm hungry, let's go eat. If I pass by something, I'm hey, look, they say there's the biggest yarn in the United States. Let's go check it out. So I gotta go with it.
I think it's also, for those of our listeners who are a little bit more on the chill side, I think it's also getting out of that chill mode sometimes. You want to relax. It's your vacation, and I totally get that. But I feel like a lot of times when you're on vacation, sometimes you get too chill, and you get too like, oh, well, it's my vacation, so I'm just gonna hang out today. And then one day turns into 2 days, and then 3 days later you're leaving, and it's
I can totally see that. Yeah,
and it's one of those things where you're like, well, I really wanted to do this, and I really wanted to do that, and it's like, well, you could have done it.
Just go do it.
But you just stayed at home all day. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do one day. But understand that you're getting this experience that you don't know that you're going to get again.
Right.
And it's not saying, anything bad. It's just, it's more like there are so many places to travel in this world. And what if this isn't a place that you get to come back to? Because life is long, but it's short at the same time.
Yeah, and like you could have the mixture of both. Like you just said, like, part of the day can be chilled when you're going to have brunch. And then the other half, what are you doing that's not kind of relaxing, right? You're on vacation, so if you're doing a tour of something, like you're not doing anything, you're experiencing something. Like I guess that's the point, right? Like the vacation should be relaxing at the times you're supposed to relax, or when you want to relax, and you should also be experiencing moments, because it should be that your vacations should be moments and memories that you're able to hold on to and kind of look back at. Even like you said, if it's a one-time thing that you went to, it's like you'll always go back to that moment, and like it's always there forever.
Exactly. And I think that, I'm a big person on vacations. I like to do things all day long, and I understand that not everybody's like that, so I try and be a little bit more aware of it. But I also think that my dad's favorite saying is you can sleep when you're dead. That's how I feel most of the time. I'm like, I love to sleep. I love to relax. I love to chill, but I really want to experience it for what it's experienced, because I don't know when I'm coming back.
Right. What was your favorite vacation you've ever taken?
Greece,
but was that a vacation or that was a school thing?
It was a school thing, but we had our weekends off. So like on the weekends we got to really go see everything, and I was in there, it took me a while to get there, but yeah, Greece was school, but it was a vacation. Like I'll tell you right now, if you ever had to go to Greece for work for some reason for 2 weeks, I don't care what you're doing, it will always feel like a vacation. There is something so serene, and like there were things that we would do there where we, the town that we stayed in was super small. It was an island 13 hours off the coast. So it was not on the mainland at all. And literally people walked around in their bare feet. Like I would walk to the store in my bare feet because that's how everybody walked. And there was an actual donkey that would like walk through the streets, and the old nanas would go and they would hook him to the tree so he'd stay out of the way, and you could go feed him apples. Like, I don't care if it's a school trip. That is the most amazing experience you will ever have. Like, it's crazy.
My favorite vacation was at Universal Studios. It was awesome.
Was it?
Yeah, I love family vacations. I've always been spoiled. My brothers and I, we've gone, Wisconsin Dells, Indiana Beach, Disney World. We've done Universal Studios. We've been to South Beach. You and I went to New York, which is beautiful.
New York is my favorite place to go, just in general. Like, I'm convinced that in another life I lived in New York.
I like New York. New York is cool.
I want to be a New Yorker so bad. Everything in me wants to be a New Yorker so bad.
They're cool.
I literally tell my boss all the time, if we ever split off and do a branch there, I'm like, I want to go start the branch so I can be there an extraordinary amount of time.
Yeah, it's cool. New York is cool. And we have San Diego coming up, which I'm very excited. I'm very excited for. Originally, we were supposed to go to Puerto Rico, but obviously after the hurricane, it's impossible. And shout out to all those in Puerto Rico. They're still, 85% without power, and 30% are getting it without water. It's a whole thing, and you don't see it in the news, but it is what it is. But yeah, and those are other things you kind of have to adjust for. Like, we weren't expecting a hurricane to destroy the island.
We kind of thought that we weren't going to get any, we didn't know if we were going to be able to go on vacation at all. Like, that's where we were, is because the airlines were kind of giving us the runaround as to what we could do from there. And it wasn't just I don't want it to sound selfish, because it wasn't just about that. We actually were all still planning on going to help out. And it came down to people pretty much being like, they don't have resources for their own people.
Let alone for us to go
How are they going to have anything for you? And we're not trained. We weren't, this wasn't something where we're like, oh no, we've done this a million times. We've gone and done these mission trips and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, this would be completely new, and it would be more of a hinder than a help. And then the airports were just awful. American ended up being awesome. They like fixed everything right away for us, but we ended up being able to go on the San Diego trip, and I was just really grateful that we got to, because so many people don't get to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that it's kind of taking everything and moving with it, and
you kind of have to
hoping for the best.
Yeah,
really.
just you make all these plans for one vacation, and then kind of you have to call an audible for all those who play football, and you have to just make a new play and decide on the fly, like, all right, this is what we're gonna do now, and hope for the best and make the best out of a situation.
I mean, I was kind of at the point. I think we were all kind of at the point, like, if we just go to Wisconsin Dells for a weekend, like, that's fine, because you work. It's not taking anything away from anything else, but you work really hard, especially for vacation. You work hard for a vacation. You're working extra hard when you're getting into that time, because like, my week has been nuts and it's only Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it's just because I know I have so much to finish up before we get there.
Yeah.
So it's, you work really hard and you want to be able to appreciate everything. And then you want to also be able to kind of get that time where you're like, I worked for this. It's different from when you're a kid and you go on vacation. Because, like, as an adult, you work for this. Yeah,
and it's legit. Your vacations, your trip is something that, you like you said, you're working hard for. And, before we go ahead and wrap this up for everybody who's keeping up with this, I want to know something. A lot of people have trouble with this is packing, and especially when you're in a relationship, like, there's a lot of problems. For some reason, couples just don't know how to. The people in general, when they're sharing luggage, they don't know how to fairly, split the luggage and make sure each of them is getting enough. And then you get a lot of people, like my mother's a great example, who, like, there's no way it's only one luggage. Like, there's no way it's impossible. I don't get it. Like, unless you're there for more than if you're there for 10 days or more, like, I get it. But, like, anything less than that, like, 2 pairs of jeans, a bunch of underwear, a couple T-shirts, and a dress shirt, and you're good to go.
It's so funny because actually one of the couples that we're going with, Amy, messaged me.
Shout out to Amy and Andy.
Shout out to Amy. The Lanskis, we love you.
Don't give out their last name. I don't want to give them that much credit.
We were talking about luggage, and she's like, I think we're going to just check, or we're not going to just carry on. And I was like, well, that's what me and Mike were planning on doing the whole time. I was like, when I went on my school trips, we had to use our checked luggage for our tools. And because you couldn't carry any of your tools, obviously, on board, because it was stuff like scrapers and things like that. So all of that had to go in your checked luggage, which meant you had no room for your actual clothes in there.
Right.
So I packed 5 weeks worth of stuff into a duffel bag.
That's crazy.
And I do this every trip. When we went to New York, I packed every single thing in a backpack. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yep, this is what's happening. And maybe it's because I did all those, like, school trips that has really helped me to be like, okay, this is what I need, this is what I don't need. And this is how to pack. Like, a really good space saver, people. If you're packing extra shoes, stuff underwear and socks in your shoes. It saves so much space, and it helps out so much.
It's actually really smart. That's actually a good idea.
Yeah. It's like...
Have you always done that?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
I usually don't bring more than one pair of shoes,
but if I
have
never
to.
Noticed, yeah.
But if I have to, yeah. So, like, when we went to New York, I brought a pair of heels, and I brought my boots, and I wore my boots, but I brought the heels in there, and I put stuff in there.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I think there's definitely a trick to the trade, and, any way you could save a couple bucks, do it, especially when you're going on vacation.
And if you decide that you need to check your bags, or if you have to because you're going on, like, an extensively long trip, do yourself a favor, from somebody who has had so many delays and so many canceled flights. Please, 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 please make sure to pack extra underwear, socks in your carry-on.
Yeah,
extra
good idea.
Pair of clothes. Because I have been stuck in an airport, and they sent me to a hotel because of the weather, and I had the same clothes for 3 days.
That's rough.
And I was like, you're washing your clothes literally in the hotel sink and blow drying it.
That's rough. Yeah, again, be flexible and think ahead of everything, and pack smartly too. It's like don't bring a lot of stuff that's hard to take in and out of bags when you're getting checked. Right. Make sure that you're not bringing bulky things. Like, if you can, leave your laptop. If you can only bring your pad unless you need it for work. Like, pack efficiently as far as anything like that.
And if you have, like, a small purse, like, for women out there, like, I have a really tiny purse that I use when I travel or whatever. but because you can have a personal item, grab one of your really big purses because that's your personal item. You can stuff a ton of shit in there with your little purse in there.
Yeah, and again, just being efficient and giving yourself another thing of storage within that thing of storage. And, get there early. Make sure that, you're comfortable. If you have the pre-flight jitters, just relax. It's just the
There are
safest way.
also bars, and they're usually open at 6.
They're very, very expensive. But, hey, if you're terrified of going on a plane, get lit and enjoy the ride. Just don't touch the stewardess, guys, please. It's not 1979.
No.
Do you have any other tips for the people when it comes to just taking vacations? Or?
I think just knowing where you guys want to go, being able to communicate, throwing out a couple of different ideas.
Sure, that's a really good idea.
Just having several ideas so that everyone can kind of play with them, whether you're going with your friends or your significant other. Also knowing that if you've never traveled with your significant other, you are going to learn so much about them.
We did.
Yeah, we bought tickets to New York after dating for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And we went on the trip 3 months into our relationship. It was honestly one of the coolest things, but you definitely learn a lot. I learned Mike does not like to get up early.
No, never have.
Never have.
I had a messed up bag too, which
Yeah.
really sucks. And I'm walking around New York City.
Yeah, so it was, he's not nearly as flexible as I thought he was. In the sense of like what we were gonna do. I was like, oh, I'm gonna leave and we're gonna go here and we're gonna be up at 6, and he's like, none of that is actually happening.
Yeah,
like
no,
I
thank you.
cannot function on that. So understand.
I mean, although I do it every day for work, waking up at 3:30
but that's
my
why,
time,
right?
Yeah.
Like, but
Sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it's a good way to kind of know your partner, and I think if you can get through a vacation,
yeah,
you can
it is.
probably get through living together.
Yeah, that's
Because you don't have any more space except for one small room. There's no kitchen. There's no nothing. I mean, now they have Airbnb, which is really different, but.
And then you just have to be patient with the other person too. Like, understand you're in each other's personal space a lot, and you're going through growing pains, literally. Like, especially the first time you go travel with somebody.
And it's a little glimpse, I think, into what it's like to live with somebody.
Yeah.
A small glimpse, albeit, but a glimpse, which
And
is
the
good.
same thing with friends. Like, you're gonna learn a lot. Like
Yeah.
when you've been away with them, like you just learn. Like
you have no space.
right. Like I've gone with Amy and Andy like overnight to a bunch of places. Like I know that, but for regular people who like for the first time doing stuff like that and really depending on somebody, it's definitely an experience because you're vulnerable to another set of people that you never expected to be that type of
Right.
vulnerable
And
with.
personality wise too, I'm very much a go and we'll figure it out later. In the sense of like when I'm going on an adventure, I'm like,
Right.
we're going on an adventure.
That's all
We're
it
just
is.
gonna walk and we're gonna find stuff. And
I think that's a great way to put it. Like these vacations are just our versions of adventures in Hollywood. Like you just get to create your own memories, create your own, just create your own journey in that little span and enjoy it and reward yourself with all the hard work and everything that's led up to it.
absolutely.
All right, Nicole, it was a fun pizza night. You have any last thoughts about vacations? Any last words? We're T-minus what? Less than 10 days before we're on a plane.
It's actually 8 days.
There you
guys.
go. Leaving on a jet plane.
I know. No, I'm super excited. I think this is going to be really fun. Our last trip was pretty short. It was 3 days, and this one's 7. So it's definitely going to have more time being there and
Has time to breathe.
right, really time to enjoy things and kind of be in that mind frame. So I'm really excited about that. And just kind of what's going to happen in the pipeline after we go on this one when I can convince you to take more vacations with me.
Yeah, let's hope so. And then we get back, we get to watch Star Wars, which is awesome.
That's literally all he's excited about.
I'm excited about everything. It's going to be an awesome trip. You get to go with a special lady, and then you get some of your best friends in a beautiful city. You get to eat some food. Guys, that's what it's all about. That's what vacations are all about. Hopefully, we answered some of your questions. We got into some of the things that you guys talk about when you're planning a vacation. If we missed anything, please let us know. We want you to be a part of the show. So if you're on Facebook, please like us. We're at Mercado Airwaves. If you're listening to us on YouTube, subscribe to us. You get every single one of our episodes. You get a notification when it's been uploaded. That's youtube.com/Mike Mercado 2333. We're also on iTunes. You can like us over there. You can rate, review, like us, share us. It's itunes.com/Mercado Airwaves. For all those who listen on Android devices, we're also on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Mercado Airwaves. And every one of our episodes here, every one of our shows on Mercado Airwaves, The Good Brothers, Pizza Night with Niki and Mike. Every one of our interviews with UFC champions and legends are brought to you by our producers at patreon.com, patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Over there, you can find a tier if you have a brand, if you have a company that you want us to advertise to our diverse audience, with our diverse shows. We have a tier for you there. It's patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Check it out, guys. Nicole, I can't wait. Vacation time is gonna be a hell of a time.
So excited. I'm super excited to let you guys know how it goes and what we do, and we'll hopefully have all the pictures up and everything. So looking forward to it.
Thank you guys for joining us here on Pizza Night with Niki and Mike. We will see you next time.
See you guys.
Thanks for joining us here on Pizza Night with Niki and Mike, here on Mercado Airwaves.